without a license.
Correct.
In their homes.
In their homes. And you said that this is, on the AM band, it's on the FM band, it's elsewhere. So if this is the case, like what are the constraints on this? Because I'm sure people are thinking, well, wait a second, at what point does it become pirate radio, in quotes, right? Does it become the kind of unlicensed broadcasting which the FCC frowns upon? How do you manage to be somebody using the airwaves legally under this Part 15 rule?
Well, there are three rules that pretty much, there's a bunch of rules for Part 15, but there are three rules that come and encompass the broadcast band. There are two primarily for most people for the AM band. That would be Part 15.209, which governs your use of the airwaves by a field strength measurement. Another more generic rule is Part 15.219, which is governed more by the input power of the actual transmitting device, that the final output can't consume more than 100 milliwatts, and a combination of antenna length and ground lead length can't exceed, well, it used to be 10 feet back in the old days, and then when they adopted metrics, it winds up being 9.84 feet, which is 3 meters.
So let's kind of untangle this. So that first one you said is about field strength. And to my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, that is basically how strong is the signal at a certain distance away from where the transmitter is. Is that correct?
Exactly.
And then the other part, it sounds like it's all about your transmitter, right? It's all about, and people sort of understand that, like on the FM band or on the AM band, you think about a big AM station might have 50,000 or 100,000 watts of power. And you said that under these rules, the amount of power you'd be allowed to have is 100 milliwatts, which is 1/10 of a watt. Is that correct?
That's correct, but the important thing to keep in mind, that's the actual input power of the final output transistor or output device in the transmitter. So you're not getting 100 milliwatts out to the antenna.
Okay, so that's really technical, right? But it means basically
small.
It means very small, and then you have these other constraints on the antenna. So it seems like the antenna, an AM broadcast antenna, if you go to an AM station, is going to be tens of meters tall, if not more so, right? Because of the long wavelengths of AM radio. And here, if I'm going to start up a Part 15 legal unlicensed AM radio station, I'm limited to 3 meters in length for my antenna, right? So a little taller than like your average person, the average adult. Is that correct?
Correct. And the reason they do that is because at the limited length of the antenna and ground lead, you have a very inefficient method of transmitting the signal. So that in itself is helping limit the actual field strength that you can achieve under that condition.
And the ground lead, that's just another piece of the antenna, right? That basically, connects it to ground, literally, like what the ground or like a grounded outlet or something like that. Is that correct?
Correct, because with AM, you need to have a ground wave to be able to emit a signal. So an ungrounded transmitter would be even more inefficient, to the point where you would be lucky to get maybe tens of feet, if not, very small fractions of a foot, compared to an antenna system with a ground and, of course, the radiator.